in the morning. All right, good. So Leah, hold on one second. Let me share.
Morning.
Good morning. All right. Thank you guys for joining on this beautiful Saturday. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys and let me know if you can see it. I'm not really well equipped to use Zoom, but I will do my best here. Sure. There we go. Voila. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Super. All right, so I'm gonna go to present. All right, my name is Mamadi Kone. I'm the founder and executive director of WeNetworkNow. Before we get started, I would like to ask you these questions, right? First, have you asked yourself this question before? Where can I connect and network with talented African professionals? You know, how and where can I find a mentor or mentee? Is there an organization that provides programs that help individuals grow personally and professionally? Well, if you have asked yourself this question, you're not alone. And I have a good news for you. There's an organization called WeNetworkNow, and that was created just to address those questions and challenges. During the early days of WeNetworkNow, our team made one important decision, and that decision was, well, let's start with the people first. So we didn't say, well, we are a bunch of professionals with a bunch of degrees, let's get together and create an organization and then try to fit our members in that organization. Instead, we did the opposite. And what we did, basically, we started meeting with our acquaintances, our friends, you know, our colleagues, and asking the question that I just posed earlier. And we had like an overwhelming answers to those questions. And it was funny that the majority of our members and family members and colleagues that we asked actually, you know, asked themselves those questions at one point in their life. And that's exactly what WeNetwork was created to address those challenges. And WeNetwork has been really working really hard behind the scenes, you know, to address those issues, but also to create webinars, workshops, you know, for our members, even during COVID-19. The reason why most of you guys on this call have not heard about WeNetwork now, because we are good at one thing and one thing only, and that's providing the best programs and services to our members. And we're not good at one thing that I would like to admit here, and I'm sorry to my team members there, is we're not good at promoting ourselves, let alone an organization. But today, I'm really happy that we are in good company. We have a great expert that can help us, teach us a few things about promoting ourselves, but also WeNetworkNow. Now, this is some of our members here. This was our pre-launch day back in January when we were having physical events. But since February, we haven't had any physical events due to COVID. But we did have a lot of workshops, even during COVID, you know, when people were stressed, you know, sitting at home. We still brought a lot of great speakers to have webinars and workshops. Now, about WeNetworkNow. During the early days, again, we made another important decision, and that was, well, you know, anyone can create an organization. That's very easy. But the experience that you create with it is everything. And we thought that, okay, the experience that we want to create with WeNetworkNow is to start with people, right? And we thought that everything that we're going to do is to make people at the epicenter of everything we do, right? And then what we did, we started doing interviews, right? We started meeting our friends and, you know, asking them why organization that they would like to see, you know, in the African community. And that's how we came out with this simple but profound mission statement: connect professionals of African descent to opportunity and demystify professional and personal success, right? And when we say opportunity, it doesn't mean that we're gonna give jobs to somebody, but it's basically giving them information. Because we in the African community, we notice that there's one thing to be educated, but there's another thing to, you know, to know the system, right? And then demystify professional and personal success basically means that I thought about this, that people, quote unquote, that are successful are the, you know, very smart or the chosen ones, right? Into corporate America. So basically is we thought we need to mentor each other, but also we as individuals need to define our own success, right? And then that takes me to our vision here, right? When we're doing these interviews, meeting with our members, our family members, our friends, we notice that there are a lot of African talented people, especially in Minnesota, that are doing incredible stuff in the business field, education wise. But there was only one issue that they don't collaborate with one another. Everyone lives in silos. So we thought that, okay, WeNetwork is going to be that bridge where we're going to connect all these professionals so they can come together, right? So for example, you have people in Nigerian community that are just doing their own thing. You have people in the Guinean community that are doing their own thing, right? Who will say, well, we are better together. We need to come together, share ideas, and then also mentor each other. And that takes me to our value here, connection. And we also thought that, well, it is part of our African value where when you meet somebody, you don't just communicate with the person, but you connect with them, right? And we noticed that nowadays that we live in a society we just, it's transactional. We communicate a lot, but we don't connect with people, right? And we made a point that, okay, every time that we're going to have an event, we have to strive to connect with one another, right? Because at the end of the day, we are humans. We need one another, right? We cannot do it alone. And then collaboration also means, well, let's bring our skills together, right? And then that back, as you can see, our slogan, we are better together. Well, we live in this great nation. It was not built by one person. It was like, it's an immigrant country where you have people from all walk of life, that made this great nation. And if we can give that same philosophy here, come together, not just sabotage each other's culture, but bring your gift, I bring my gift, and we work together. I think we can build something great together. And celebration, basically, oftentimes our story is being told by other people, right? And those people that I just talked to you about these great guys that are doing incredible stuff in Minnesota, no one knows about them. And that's because in general, in African culture, we don't know how to promote ourselves, right? It's actually shameful to promote yourself. You have to let other people talk about your achievements, right? And then, I mean, I'm guilty of this, and I remember 5 years ago, I was working for West Fargo. I had an opportunity to talk to a recruiter to help me with my resume. And then she asked me what I have done. I was like, well, I was at the United Nations a couple of times and this, that. She was like, well, I'm not seeing that on your resume. I was like, well, but it's not related to what I'm doing or what I want to go. I was like, well, you need to put that in your resume somewhere, right? So those are the things that we're not really, good at. But WeNetworkNow was created to address that, to promote our members. If we ship something, we're gonna make sure that we put on our social media website. We're gonna make sure that we put that on our website as well, right? And that takes me to our program and services, right? I was talking to you earlier that anyone can build an organization. That's very, very easy. But the experience that you create with it is everything, right? And that's what we did, right? Everything that we do, people is at the epicenter of what we do. And the programs that we have was actually the byproduct of our meetings, our surveys, what people wanted to see. That's how we came out with these programs and services. Because we thought that everyone connects and learn differently. For example, me, I connect with people face to face, not virtually. It's very awkward for me right now, but I'm trying. And also, I'm a visual learner, right? So that's why we came out with networking events, mentorship, workshops, like the one that we are having today, webinars, podcasts that's coming soon. So since our inception, we already had so many events, great events that are helping actually making positive impacts on our community. And we are very, very grateful for that. We're going to continue doing the same thing. That takes me here. Please follow us and connect with us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We even have a YouTube page where we upload our webinars and workshops. So if you don't have an opportunity to attend for any of our workshops, you can go there. And the good news about it is free. It is free for you. And these are great webinars. And I have a great announcement today, and that's our website. So 7 months ago, we decided to build a website for our organization. But again, I'm really grateful to be surrounded with a great team. Then we thought, well, it doesn't make sense to build a website just to build a website. It's like Amazon building e-commerce website and then no one can place an order, right? So let's not do that. And especially during that time, we had external forces that were trying to, that didn't believe in our cause or that actually doubted what we're trying to do. As you may know, when you're trying to affect change, people are always going to doubt your motives. And we had those forces already. We said, okay, guys, let's now put the website out there. Let's make sure that first we serve our communities and then put the website. Then we have a story to tell, right? And that's exactly what happened. Right now, we have testimonies, we have good data, we have good stories that I just talked about to show for. Then people can go to our website. Our website showcases these stories and data better than I do. With that being said, I'm gonna go to our website here. So look at this, guys. Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yep,
Yes,
looks great.
yes, we can.
Okay, super, super. Guys, look at it. This is just beautiful. We do believe this is the most good-looking website and user-friendly website out there. We really, really believe. Look at this. So first, this is our logo. And then I'm not gonna go through all of this because of sake of time. We don't have a lot of time here, but I'm gonna touch on a very important things here. So here, this is, if you click here, it's gonna take to our mission, our value. This is our programs that I was just talking about. And this is, if you click here, it's gonna take you to our members and our board of directors. Here you can subscribe. But let me first, go to it here. This is our mission here. You click here, it's gonna take you to, let me click on that. It's gonna take you to our history, how WeNetwork started it, and you're gonna see our mission, our vision, our value. And I click home, it's gonna take me back home. And then this is our programs. That was on the header here. So everything you see on the header is gonna see in the body of the website. And then of course, it's actually to take action here. And then this is our latest event. This is the event that we are having today. And then meet our great, incredible team members here. And these are the testimonies. And we could now put all the testimony here, but these are some of the testimonies that we have. So first, let me make sure that I click on donate here. I click donate, it's gonna take you to your donate page. Please, we have been operating without any fund at all. This just has been people that believe in this cause. So if you feel generous, you believe in this cause, please, donate. And then for our corporate folks out there, if you wanna be a sponsor, we have a program for that. You can become a sponsor. We have a gold, we have a silver, we have a bronze category. You can also leave us a message. Right, and then that takes me back here, and then membership. If you want to become a member, boom, this is the membership application right here. And then mentorship here, right? If you click on that, first it takes you to a page that talks about what our mentorship is about, right? You read on that, and if you want to become a mentee or mentor, you say, boom, it takes you to that from here. It's that easy. And then if I go home here, this is beautiful. It gets me excited. This is our latest events here. If you click, you want to see more here. This is what it does. It takes you to all the events that we had here. It just is beautiful. It's beautiful. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And then another thing for our awesome team here. These guys, I cannot thank these guys enough. Even during COVID, some of these guys are family members. They sacrifice their time to work on WeNetworkNow. And thanks to these guys that I'm able to speak to you today. So thank you to Ewa, Check, Medo, LOD, everyone, guys. You are awesome. You are a true leader, guys. So that, and then the good thing, if you go down, we have a testimony. We get a time to read that. We have a quick name at the bottom. And then if you want to, we have a frequently asked questions here. How do I get involved? Do I need to pay a membership fee? Actually, it's free. We don't get any money from anybody. This is us being passionate about giving back to our community. And then if you want to see a gallery, if you want to actually, satisfy your eyes, and this is some of our gallery here, guys. Look at this. This is beautiful. Look at it. This is some of the events that we have. These are great professionals, and so let me go back there, and that's basically it. And like I said, we do believe this is the most beautiful and user-friendly website that's out there. We really believe on that because we put a lot of work in this. We really hope that you enjoy it as much as we enjoy building it. And I'll come back to my presentation here. So to our members, to our collaborators, to our mentors, I have a message for you. Thank you guys for all the work you do. Without your impactful story, we wouldn't have WeNetworkNow. Without your contribution, we don't have WeNetworkNow today. Without your contribution, your help, we wouldn't have WeNetworkNow. Thank you for your help, and thank you for your leadership, because it's really, really hard to come by, but to find those kind of people these days that talk the talk, but walk the walk. It's really, really hard, So thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. And I will make sure that we won't let our members down, because our members are the reason why we were created. And we'll do everything within our power to make sure to bring you the best program and services.
Thank you so
much. And I
much.
would like to call out a couple of people here. I would like to call out Leah Pfeiffer, who has been supportive of our call since the beginning, and also Anissa as well. I don't know if she's on this call. Thank you so much. And with that, I would like to introduce human resource folks here. These guys, the reason why these guys are here today is because they're great at what they do. And the second reason that they're here again today, we had them 2 months ago, is because our member requested them. So I would like to introduce Emily Fries, Human Resource Director at Target, and she will introduce her colleagues. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mamadi. It was just your pride of the website to experience you announcing that and walking through it. It is a beautiful website, and we all just feel lucky that we got to be here for the big reveal. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. As Mamadi said, I'm Emily Fritz. I work at Target, and I have 6 of my HR professional friends and colleagues joining us today for a session on building your LinkedIn brand and some networking advice. So last session in August, we covered resume creation and kind of refinement, and did some working sessions related to that topic. We did record that session, and it's on the YouTube channel, right, Mamadi?
Yeah,
and so if you weren't there for that and want to see it, feel free to take a peek. I just did some very rough math, and I think the group of us that are here today have over 100 years of HR experience. We all started when we were 1 year old, so we're quite young to have that much experience, but wanted to take a minute to let folks introduce themselves, and we'll start with Sidra.
Good morning, I'm Sidra Khan. I work with Emily with the HR team at Target, and this is my second time attending the event. Very happy to be here. I'll keep it short.
Thank you, Sidra. How about Amy?
Morning, everyone. Amy Benson. I also work with Emily at Target and have been there for 18 years, which I guess makes me 19 years old. So thanks, Em.
Wonderful. Megan.
Hi, everybody. I am a leader within talent acquisition. I currently lead our campus recruitment and early career strategies for Target. I've been with Target for 15 years. And like Emily said, we are excited to be with you guys and with colleagues and friends. So it's a fun way to start our weekend.
Next is Angie.
Morning, everybody. I'm Angie Hawkins. I lead the talent acquisition team for data science and technology services at Target, and I've been there for 16 years. Super excited to be here. So thanks for having us.
Wonderful. Uni.
Hi, my name is Uni Lee. I am in talent analytics. I'm an analyst there. Previously, though, I was a technical recruiter and a talent sourcer for Megan's team, actually, in campus programs. And I've been at Target about 2.5 years now. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So,
thank you.
More of a newbie.
Last but not least, Mara.
Good morning. My name is Mara Reardon. I've been on both the HR and TA talent acquisition sides of Target, and I have worked with everybody on the call. You guys, we've been looking forward to this for a few weeks since Emily invited us, and so thank you so much for letting us be part of your journey.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. So I think we'll just dive into the content. So we have plenty of time for questions. If you were on the last session, we kept it very conversational and interactive. And so feel free to jump in with questions, write questions in the chat. Leah will help us spot those questions as it gets a little bit tricky when you're sharing screen to see everything. So jump right in. You don't need to wait for the end in terms of the questions that you might have, or even advice you might have too as you've been working on your LinkedIn profile or building your brand for job seeking. So with that, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Let's make sure I've got the right one here. Let me know when you can see it. Oh, there we go. Can you see?
I can. Looks good.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Megan is going to take this part of the presentation and share her advice and expertise in building your brand. And then I'll do a live demo of my LinkedIn page to kind of familiarize you with the different sections and how to leverage them as you are looking for employment.
Awesome. Thanks, as you flip to the next slide, Mamadi, I think what you shared just in terms of talking about like promoting ourselves can be difficult and it can feel daunting and it can feel uncomfortable. And so like, I just really appreciate the setup that you shared this morning. But it's really important. And we're focusing on LinkedIn because it's a really powerful tool. As you're going to see, I'm a recruiter at heart. I've spent most of my time at Target in different recruitment roles. And so as Mamadi was kind of kicking us off this morning, I got on my own LinkedIn and I saw that, you have a LinkedIn page, which was awesome. And I also just searched a couple of your profiles. And what I would say is many of you have not only an amazing foundation, but it looks like you're active. Mamadi, I saw you have over 500 connections. So as you think about your networks, you've got some people who are really active. And so continue to leverage one another because I would say this is going to be something ongoing. And what I would say is whether as I looked at your profiles, I see we have students and we have people that have been, working for years. And no matter if you're trying to find an internship or your first role, or you have 20 years of career experience, we do hope today you'll take something new away. And I would say as we've done these sessions for internally, externally, other networking groups. Again, we've done them from students up to vice presidents, and everybody can always improve in terms of their connections, how they are elevating their brand, and then also how they can use their connections and their storytelling, not only for themselves, but the communities that they care about. And so we're excited to kind of dive in a little bit deeper today. As we go into the next slide, what you're going to see is today it's kind of to give you a crash course. And I think it's a good way to approach it since a lot of you probably already have a pretty solid foundation. And so our hope is take away a tip or trick within these different spaces. Choose to do something that you haven't done before to see if you do things like increase your profile views. And then like Em said, just pause, ask questions. There's no right way to do this, but I think the conversation will definitely kind of enrich the dialogue and the outcomes too. So the three kind of areas that we'll spend a little bit of time talking about, one is just how do you build your profile? What are some of the most key areas? If a recruiter, for example, is glancing, how do you get them to stop and pause? I know Emily said that you did a resume workshop in August, and the average time that a recruiter is looking at a resume is 7 seconds. It's not that different on LinkedIn. And so the ability to attract attention, to get somebody to know your headlines is really important. The second piece is really about the connections and developing a network. And so Mamadi, again, like you gave us those social places that are out there. And so we'll kind of talk about those, but we'll also talk about like, what are the things that are not only important in terms of creating connections, but where is it natural? I think sometimes it feels overwhelming to say, where do we start? But as I looked at your profile, several of you have contracted at Target. We have connections there. I saw somebody who did their undergrad in Wisconsin. I did as well. And so when you find an in and a connection with somebody, some commonality, it makes it a lot easier to either start a conversation or ask for some time or simply just build your network. And then the third piece is really about activating your network. And this is a really powerful one. This is about how do you choose to either share stories, create posts, like other things. And to me, it's important to do two things. One, it does increase your relevancy. So if you are, for example, example, actively job seeking, it's going to get more people to view your profiles. The other thing, it is just a good thing to do. It's a great way to recognize friends and colleagues for their accomplishments. Mamadi, as you talked about, like the difficulty in promoting oneself and leading with humility, sometimes we can promote one another, and that not only is helpful, but it becomes more fun too. Questions on kind of what we'll go over today? Anything before we dive into just a little bit of overview about kind of LinkedIn in general?
Yeah, this is I just had a quick question. You said it takes 7 seconds to look at a resume. I was just gonna ask kind of a follow-up, like what are those 7 seconds things that you guys quickly look at, you know?
Oh God, I'm sure there's some like AI scientists that like did eye scans to see where things are sticking out.
Wow, really?
I don't know for sure. Technology is ridiculous. And I feel like there's
Sure.
a lot of things that people smarter than me figure out. A couple of things. We talk about things like what's your headline? So if you want to think about what you want to be known for, like either starting your resume with that or figuring out like if somebody is only spending 7 seconds, do they know what profession I am in? Do they know what I'm looking for and kind of what I'm after is probably some of the most critical information. And that can come through like a headline, or it can come through just ensuring that you list kind of your key jobs or responsibilities and kind of making sure it's known. And we'll kind of see some of that in LinkedIn too. I mean, part of LinkedIn does read like a brief resume, so it's probably going to have some similarities.
Okay.
And I would chime in too, if that's okay, Meg, is I think from a technical side, my team probably spends more than 7 seconds, and they're looking for what are the associations, what are the specific technologies that you have experience working in. And so if that's SQL, they see SQL, then they might spend a little bit more time. So it's just trying to grab their attention initially, and then they'll dig deeper to better understand, like, okay, what experiences match those skill sets that might be a fit for this job.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
One other piece that we spent a good amount of time on last time was for those that are attempting to change industries, making sure that you are customizing the experiences you're highlighting towards the industry that you want to go after. And that might, you might need to kind of reconfigure your experiences to lean that way so that it's more obvious to a recruiter that that's what you're qualified to do and that's what you're focused on.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Uni just put an awesome link in to see how recruiters tend to scan a LinkedIn page. Thanks so much, Uni.
I'll check that out.
Love it.
Thank you.
So I have a question. So when somebody applies for a job, do you guys go straight to their LinkedIn page? Is LinkedIn page more relevant now than resumes, or they're focusing?
Relevancy is definitely increasing, and you can even flip to the next slide because people can start to kind of read some of the stats. I would say at some organizations, Mamadi, like I would say LinkedIn profiles are equally accepted as an application. They haven't necessarily replaced them across the board. I would say with smaller or more traditional companies, you're always going to still want a resume. Cover letters, I would say, are probably more the place that it's definitely more optionality or less relevance. Recruiters, though, when I think about tools to connect with talent outside of looking at folks that are directly applying for jobs, LinkedIn is the place recruiters are typically going. When you see some of these stats, you're going to see why. So almost 700 million members on LinkedIn, over 50 million companies represented on LinkedIn. And when you look at the power of job search, connection, job advertising, LinkedIn continues to get more rich in terms of how they are trying to provide value to both just users that are on there as well as employers. They do a really good job at getting us employers to pay some big bucks to learn a lot about talent on LinkedIn because it is such a widely used tool. The good news is, like I said, a lot of you already have profiles that you're starting with. And so you're taking the first steps. And if you are searchable and if you have your information out there, you're already doing the right thing. All right. I won't drain this one. I think we can share this afterwards as well, but it's a good reference point. Okay, here's kind of a fun one. I can't take credit for whoever created this montage of The Rock, but he's pretty awesome. So it's a good way to kind of compare social mediums when we think about pictures. But pictures are incredibly important because they are going to increase the likelihood of people viewing your resume. So if a recruiter is doing a search and they're putting in those keywords like Angie talked about, the keywords are going to increase your relevancy in terms of kind of raising to the top. And a picture is really going to increase the likelihood that somebody is going to click in and take some more time to get to know you and your background. It indicates that you probably have a more complete profile. And Mamadi, like you said too, like most of us are so used to kind of in-person connections and networking. And so in this virtual world, like the picture is one thing that can help just create more of a human connection, make it feel a little bit more real in terms of who is on both sides of the screen. And so I think there's just some value, especially given how we're kind of navigating right now amidst this virtual world as well. And so the one other thing that I would say here is like, don't feel the pressure of, I don't have a professional headshot. Definitely not necessary. I saw some of the profile pictures that you guys had up there and they look great. The montage is a good reminder of what you want to portray. And because it's a professional networking site, think about that in terms of the picture that you want to put out there.
Meg, I think that's a good point. And would your advice be similar in terms of the content that you're sharing and posting in terms of really anchoring it to professional networking relevance?
Absolutely. And I think that's why, right, there's different mediums that serve different purposes. And I would say LinkedIn users and the company holds pretty true to it being for professional connections. What I would say though, and it actually goes back to kind of, Mamadi, what you were saying in terms of like, if you had experience that isn't work related, but is just human and talent and passion related, working with the UN, volunteerism, what you're doing in your community, that is 100% relevant, not in terms of just your skills, but in terms of people getting to know you and the type of human you are, because what you bring to the table is going to be about your technical skill set. The other piece, the how, in terms of who you are and how you contribute and your passions are really important as well as we think about creating your brand that you're putting out there from a professional standpoint. That's it for kind of the overview of LinkedIn. So we can answer any questions and then Em will kind of take us through her profile to kind of demo some of the different components that we talked about today. So pause for questions, conversations, or even thoughts for folks that have gone through the process of building a profile, anything that you've learned or would want to share with the group too.
Thank you, Megan. I have a question. So as far as the headline goes, what suggestion that we give to people, like people that are doing like volunteering and they have technical skill? Should they have all that in their headlines or they should have that in the volunteer section on LinkedIn?
I'd say there's not one right way to do it, and it may evolve. And so when Emily goes into the demo, what you're going to see is there's a couple of places that you can choose to kind of customize. So to your point, Mamadi, like today, my headline is simply my job title, Director of Talent Acquisition at Target. The reason I have it like that is it serves my purpose of trying to connect with talent. If you're in a place that you're job seeking, oftentimes it's great to kind of talk about like currently job seeking for a Java engineering position in the Minneapolis market. And so I would say think about what's most relevant based on kind of your point in time, and then do what feels comfortable too. I think that's the other piece that you're going to see, like a resume, there's going to be different formats and not one way to do it. So I think you got to figure out, similar to what Emily said about storytelling, the purpose, and if there's something specific that you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, should we get into the demo? If anybody has a question, feel free to bring it up. Okay, let me know if you can see my profile.
Yes.
Good. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
So do as I say, not as I do. I might have some outdated stuff on here. I am not actively job seeking, and so I would say it's probably 85% synced up with the advice that I'll share. But I'll start with just walking us through kind of this first page, and this is what your profile looks like to folks when they search. What it will look like when you log in yourself to LinkedIn is more this view. But if you go to your icon and do view profile, you'll get a sense for what recruiters and other folks might see when they log in to see your profile. So obviously your name here, and then what Megan shared, this is kind of the headline spot. Because I'm not actively looking, I do have my current job title, but that's where you could say like interested in opportunities in X industry or whatever you're kind of focused on. You can edit everything with this little pencil icon. And so you'll see that in each of the different sections. And so that's something to use as you want to make some updates. As you get, oh, there's Megan. People are viewing you and me together. It's great. In the about section, this is where you can give kind of a boiled down version of your resume. So what is your background experience focused in? What different kind of keywords would you want to include here to make sure you're showing up in the searches for jobs that you are interested in pursuing? And then if you wanted to have, I'm probably too far past college graduation to still have this listed, but I have my degree listed there as well. This dashboard section, I think, is an interesting one. I think it can help be a signal to you on as you go into LinkedIn and make some updates to your profile. Do your search appearances grow? And do you see more people viewing your profile? I think that can be helpful to say like, oh, the updates I've made are really working and I'm being found in more searches. Or if for some reason you see them go down, that could be something to dig into too. So a little bit of your own talent insights there. Then you can see some of my activity, how many followers I have in total, given the fact that I've been in recruiting and many others on the call have as well. It's not normal for the average job seeker, I wouldn't say, to have 5,000 followers. So don't feel like that should be a measure of success. Recruiters certainly get significantly more followers given our nature of the work. And then you get into your experience and you can share a lot of detail by role, or you can keep it to job title with a key headline. This is an area where, and other recruiting experts, feel free to chime in, you'd probably want to give some bullets on what the experience entailed and what your responsibilities included, which could be the size of team that you led, you know, the complexity or the high level details of a project that you managed, whatever would be sort of like the very high level headlines or bullets that you'd have on your resume under each of these experiences. I have very kind of fundamental basics for some of the jobs listed. And then as you get down, you can include your education if you like, as well as any certifications. You could also include, it's probably, sorry, I'm skipping along. I think there's also a section you can add that you would include volunteer efforts or community service and involvement as well. And then you get into some of the endorsements, which people can do for you as well if you'd like. Do folks feel pretty familiar with this section of LinkedIn? Or you kind of just wanted to gauge the group? Are you on LinkedIn often and well-versed in kind of the fundamentals, or is it helpful to kind of go through this level of detail?
Well, I don't know about the rest of the attendees, but I'm pretty frequent
okay.
on LinkedIn.
Okay, good. Well, maybe if we go then to some of the more advanced.
Yeah, and I was going to call out one other thing that's showing on your profile right now.
Oh, yeah.
In that first left-hand box that it says show recruiters you're open to work.
Oh, sure.
That's a new feature that LinkedIn launched just within this past year. If you turn that on, Emily's boss is going to wonder why she's open to work. I'm kidding. But it'll show recruiters that you are actively job seeking. There are some, to that point, there are some controls in terms of visibility because there is sometimes sensitivity. And so it's usually signaling to recruiters at other companies. But especially when I think about like students, or if you're actively making a job change, many times your boss is even aware of that as well. And so I would say, don't let that scare you. It's a pretty new feature of LinkedIn, and an important one if you do want to make sure that there's that visibility.
Yeah, so here you can decide if it's recruiters or everybody. And it looks like they've even added a little visual that says open to work, which is kind of a neat way to see it really quickly. But to Meg's point, you'll want to play around with the privacy settings to make sure the right people are seeing if you activate this part of the service. So if you go to, let me check my notes here really quick. Settings and privacy, that's important. There's a lot of information in here on data that LinkedIn is leveraging and using in some of the insights Meg showed earlier on the visual, but also kind of who can see your information. Can they see, where you live? And you can even, go as far as adding your birthday and some of those other components. So it's up to you to kind of figure out the right balance, strike the right balance of what level of transparency you want to provide to folks as they search on LinkedIn. There was a couple pieces that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to show there is an option to include your name pronunciation. I thought I saw that earlier. No, I'm not spotting it here. Hold on one second. Let me go back to my profile. So I think that can be a good one that folks like. And that's a relatively new feature too, right, Meg?
Mm-hmm.
Find it.
I think it's a record option, which is pretty cool too.
Oh yeah, so it's your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Here, maybe if I go into edit. Oh yeah, here we go. So record name pronunciation. So if you click edit on your profile, that's where you can add your name. For some reason, it's saying I can only add it on the app. Maybe that's how they get the microphone quality. But if you don't already have the LinkedIn app, I would definitely encourage you to get it. It's really user-friendly, and that's where you could activate that feature.
So one other setting that's a good one to think about is you can decide when your network gets notified when you're making updates to your LinkedIn profile. What I'd suggest there is if you're just updating, if you were going to do like a review today and just want to add more rich detail or change your headline, not necessarily needing to like share it out with your entire network unless you feel like it's some substantial changes. It's really great to share it with your network when something, when you've hit a milestone. So think about a promotion, think about graduating from school. If you have your notifications on, that will blast out, and usually users get an email about once every week to 2 weeks, and it'll say, hey, congratulate these folks on this new job. Congratulate these folks on this work milestone. It's a great way to signal when there's been changes, and it'll help to increase your views as well.
Yeah, that's a great tip. So if you go into visibility and then into visibility of your activity, that's where you can manage, when do you get notifications out there, and pick the ones that matter. I think folks that have all notifications on all the time, it can feel a little too much. So minor updates not needed to notify everybody you're connected to, but the important ones, job changes, promotions, graduations, that kind of stuff is super important. And I love the idea of getting your name kind of flashed to the top of people's newsfeed. One thing that can be helpful as you, and it sounds like many of you are actively engaged in LinkedIn. If you're not, or you're finding that it's becoming more of an afterthought, or something that you just dabble in every now and then and you're not getting the traction that you want, it can be good to set a goal on how frequently you want to be in LinkedIn, networking, sharing information, making sure your profile reflects exactly what you want it to. And so that could be good to put on your calendar. Even, every Saturday, 9 a.m. cup of coffee, you do 30 minutes or an hour of LinkedIn efforts, given how actively you're in the job market. So then it doesn't become kind of an afterthought. The other tip that I've gotten from folks that, again, can increase your visibility is not only sharing, not just sharing content, but making sure you add a sentence or two of commentary or a hashtag or your point of view. If you're just sort of an echo chamber for what's already out there on LinkedIn, it won't be as engaging with folks as they're looking at your profile.
So Emily, for those that are going to school, right? Those students that are senior, and how do they increase their visibility, right, on LinkedIn? That those that don't have a lot of connections. So
Yeah, I think a great way, you see the search bar up top. I think it makes sense to search for colleagues through your university, through clubs that you're a part of, through, you know, if you did, you know, let's say you're involved in a nonprofit and you do volunteering, you could go back and search for that organization and connect with people that maybe you had a more of an acquaintance level relationship with, but they were somebody who has a job in an industry you're really interested in, and you have that sort of foot in the door to say, hey, Mamadi, remember when we volunteered at WeNetworkNow? I know that you have a lot of experience in the financial industry, and I'm trying to get my foot in that door. Would you mind meeting me for coffee or virtual coffee, given the pandemic, to just learn more about your career? And so it can be a really nice way to have an authentic connection. And it doesn't have to be a deep, you know, long-term relationship. It can be, you know, we met a couple different times volunteering at this organization together, or a couple different times through our internship program one summer, whatever it might be. And so I think where I see people get the most traction, and that's employers and job seekers, is that authentic connection that's built on something that's a little bit more than just you know, a search within LinkedIn. And that can be same school, same you know, undergrad program, same whatever it is, same company even. Maybe you both worked at Target 10 years ago, and now you've gone different directions in your career, and you want to re-engage and reconnect to learn more about how to get closer to where your former colleague is today.
Hi, Emily.
That is on your headline, make sure that you add like an intern, or if you interned that summer, or student at majoring in, because sometimes I've seen when I was sourcing for campus talent, sometimes I would see like CEO of an organization, which really can confuse recruiters. So if you are a student, just be very clear that you are a student, or we would look for keywords like intern or research assistant, things like that. So we know that you are a campus talent versus like, oh, she's a CEO. And then like, you know, it's a little confusing. So just be very clear about that.
Yeah, so I pulled up Uni's. You can see here, she's got a more unique headline that highlights a variety of her experiences and the expertise that she brings, which can kind of help. And if she had just graduated or was an intern, she'd have that listed in her headline as well, right, Uni?
I would have intern at, maybe if you intern at Target, you'll say summer intern at Target, and then also have like student at University of Minnesota, and then I will have like your major in their headline. Yeah.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, go for it.
So how does LinkedIn help, you know, people who are into consulting, right? How does that give you I guess it can help with the visibility, but you know, when it comes to consulting, you know, it's mostly about the portfolio that you have and the project that you actually deliver to the client, you know. So other than building those connections with other consultants, how else, you know, do you think, or would you say that LinkedIn can actually serve you right as a consultant?
I have a couple thoughts on that one. I think to your point, like it can be about like listing your engagements or helping you to find your next one. The other thing is, as a consultant, you want to be seen as an expert within a specific industry or function. If you use LinkedIn to share relevant content, if you're in workforce and analytics, like Uni, if you're a consultant and you want to get more jobs or gigs within workforce and analytics across the Twin Cities, the more content you're sharing around that topic, the more relevant you're going to be seen in that industry. Future employers can see how you're active, what you're reading and consuming, how you're staying up to date. And so I do think by posting, sharing, liking content around whatever your consulting expertise is, it can really increase your network visibility and hopefully just outcomes.
Okay.
I also, just to add on to that, Megan, think about the recommendations, features, or referrals. I'm probably misspeaking, but Emily, I know it's like further down on the page, and whether you could have past or current clients who have leveraged your skills have tidbits or shares around how useful that was, as a way for those who might be considering you to, you know, see others' experiences with your services is another way that I think it could be really helpful for you.
Yeah, in
Right.
addition to that, so when you have your position, so if you scroll.
Can I go back to yours? Uni, do you have any recommendations?
So one thing is on your position, you can add like links. I took it off because once I got out of the recruiting function.
Oh, sure.
But when you go to your edit function of your position, one thing you can do is add links that's relevant. So if you have a web page that houses your portfolio, add that link. So go down and then to your profile, all the way, experience, and then click edit.
Here.
And
Great.
then scroll down, and then there is
there we go.
An upload or link media, so you can add your portfolio or a testimony or whatnot. So that's one way you can kind of highlight your kind of results and portfolio for your consultants' previous work and case studies. And you can also have your website highlighted, say, in your like little blurb at the top too. So there are different ways of doing that.
Yeah, that's great.
The other caveat, just to talk about, if we go back to the recommendation piece, don't be surprised. Some companies are more lenient than others about letting you recommend peers in your same company or people you've worked with. So don't be surprised if you reach out and say, hey, could you give me a recommendation? Some companies are for that and other companies aren't. And so just don't be surprised if that comes up, because that's been an issue at times, even at Target.
Any other questions? These have been some really good ones, and I'm even learning new things about LinkedIn. Thank you, Uni, for showing me where you can put the links. Yeah,
I'm taking a lot of notes after this. I'm going back to my LinkedIn to make sure.
Okay, me too, Mamadi.
Yeah.
Any other parts, and I should have said this earlier, if you have your LinkedIn pulled up and you want to poke around and ask questions as you're kind of looking at that and listening to the call, any other sections or functionality that you've noticed on LinkedIn that you are like, oh, that sounds interesting, but I have no idea how to best leverage it? We'd be happy to advise on that as well. And that can be a follow-up question that you send us after the session too, if you get into it and want more information.
Yes, so if anyone on the call, the members, the attendees, if you have any follow-up questions after this workshop, I'm going to send out my email. Make sure you reach out to me, and I'll reach out to Emily, and Emily can link you up with somebody.
Yeah, and you have all of our names now, so I hope you're connecting with us on LinkedIn.
So while we're on this page, if there aren't any more questions, on the right, top right, there's edit public profile and URL. So if you click on that, a lot of people, usually the default is like a bunch of numbers. But as Emily has, she also personalized hers to be her name, Emily Fritz. So that's one of the first things you can do if it's like, you know, a bunch of numbers. So that's because then you can add it to maybe your email signature or just other ways that you are communicating. So you can add that and bring it so people can connect with you on LinkedIn easier. Yeah.
That's a great tip, Uni. Kind of like your handle on Instagram or Twitter, including this as your kind of professional networking handle. I love that tip. I'm very impressed with myself that I have it edited. I wasn't expecting to see that, so 1 point there. That's great. Anybody else have any other tips like that?
I actually have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So on the profile on the top right, there's like a tab with that says work.
Let's see. It's a little bit tricky with some of the camera stuff on here for Zoom,
Yeah,
so I want to
right
make sure.
beside
This
the
one?
profile. Yes. So I've seen that, but I've actually never used it, and I'm not sure what it is for. So can we get a little bit of insight about this?
Yeah, any recruiting experts want to weigh in?
Some of those are for more paid products. And so like things like, remember when I said LinkedIn is good at getting companies to spend a lot of money to get in touch with talented folks like yourself? Most of these are for paid products. And so like when you see things like post a job insights, companies or recruiters can pay to get more data and insights on members. Two things I would say. One, there are opportunities for individual users to pay to have elevated accounts. I would say it's really not necessary. If you are good about using your connections, expanding your network, like Emily said, dedicating the time, I absolutely know that you can do it without a paid version. It may give you access to like direct email, people like recruiters, but to be honest, to go through your network and do it like Emily said, in terms of building connections, you're going to be more successful. The learning is LinkedIn has launched kind of like a learning and development module where they offer things like certifications or online tutorials. They will do some of that for free as well. And so that's a good place to kind of spend some time. Some I believe are free, and then they'll also run some promos for like temporary memberships. And so it could be something to look into, but I think it's one of probably many options to consider.
And then one other ad, if you look, as you can see there are sometimes free options. Very rare does LinkedIn give us anything for free, but as you can see even down there, like you can post a job for free. So like there are times they do that, and then they certainly tie it back to a way to get some money, but you can look under the business services for those.
I have been seeing more of the free educational videos lately. I saw one this morning when I logged in prior to the call that was your 1-minute elevator speech. So there is good content there. To Meg's point, it probably at some point gets to you have to pay to go further down the road. But leveraging what's provided for free, that's a great tip. And that could be one way that you use your 30 to 60 minutes a week on LinkedIn. So it's not just pushing content and job seeking, it could be education as well.
Got it. Thank you very much.
It's a good question.
Hey, if you scroll down here, just as Emily talked about like your profile views and how you're doing. So this is Emily's news feed. It's a great way. Like I would suggest, especially if you're an active jobs seeker, using this as one of your almost news feeds. That's Jarrett Reed, who's an amazing guy at Target. But the great thing about this is, one, you can kind of stay connected, see what's going on in your network. And then if you go back up to like Jared's, you can do things as simply as like it, you can comment on it. Every time you're making an interaction similar to other social media, it is going to get your name out there. It is going to increase your visibility then to your network. And so do it both in terms of how to increase your network. But this is a great way to promote people that you care about and want to help. And so kind of use that for kind of dual purposes.
Yeah, that's great. The other, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that, Megan, good point. We need a lot of that in our community. So thank you that's a good point.
You got to post your new launch of the website here, and then all of the members, and we will all go and like it and share it. I mean, those are the perfect ways to kind of amplify your messages and what you want to get the word out about.
Super.
Absolutely. And if you're stuck on what to post or share, if you don't have some sort of a career milestone that you're updating and sharing that way, I mean, think about a picture from a volunteer event where you could share a little bit about, here's why I am part of this org, here's what we did at our session. Think about, I mean, even a team, a work moment that could be more about you recruiting for your current company and less about you searching for a new job. Like, I think you don't have to write some like long white paper or have some massive, analysis or report to share. Like, there are ways to, create wonderful, meaningful content that aren't a heavy lift.
I would also
Awesome.
add that like I've had many people who've come to interview for roles on my team have clearly either followed our company or followed many people at the company and what they've been sharing on LinkedIn lately. And it is a good way for you to kind of get a sense for what might be important to that company or organization at a time, what might be top of mind for their employees or even their leaders. And so it's like a really quick way to get like less of what a company might post out on their corporate sites in all their corporate language and more around like what does it feel and experience like. And so it's an easy way prior to interviewing, or if you're interested in a company, to like start following them or a few people that work there and have that be in your news feed and see like how that might reinforce your values or what you're looking for or what might be important.
Yeah, that's a great point, Amy. And it is a good tip too, as you're networking with people or getting ready to interview, to look at their LinkedIns and get to know them a little bit. And you can share, hey, I took a peek at your LinkedIn, and then it doesn't come across as like you know things about them, but they don't know how you know it, which can be a little bit of an unwritten rule / just cultural piece to navigate. And so showing that you prepared for the interview or the networking moment by looking at their LinkedIn and sharing that is great. I went to the saved items. This is the one I saw this morning that I saved. It's 2.5 minutes long, and she's providing, tips on how to have a powerful first impression. I think there's many of these kinds of modules. And so taking a peek through to figure out what are you most focused on, or maybe what are you feeling most nervous about if you're getting into networking or the job search, maybe for the first time in a while. And you can sort of amp up your comfort level and your skills related to that part of it relatively quickly and oftentimes for free.
Awesome. This is great. So now we at is 11:06. If folks would like to, is a breakout section where we can get like more intimate feedback on your LinkedIn. So Leah's, we have a advisory board here, Leah Pfeiffer, and she's actually working hard right now, dividing people to put them in different breakout sections. So for our members and attendees, please have your LinkedIn ready. And if you have any questions, you're gonna have these experts here. Don't waste it, because these are very, very, professional people that are responsible for hiring the best talent in the nation. So make sure that you take advantage of this. These things don't come by that often. So Leah?
Excellent. Mamadi, I just shot you a message. If you could please switch the hosting capabilities back to me, that will allow me to access the breakout rooms. So while Mamadi does that, I will sort of give a brief explainer as to how the breakout rooms work. Once I open the breakout rooms, you should see a little message at the bottom right-hand side of your screen asking you to join that room. Once you click join, you will exit out of the main room that we're all in right now, and you'll go into your breakout room. Currently, we have about 3 to 4 people in each room. So that's 1 HR professional matched with either 2 or 3 WeNetworkNow members. So as Mamadi said, take advantage of this time. There is a share screen option at the bottom. So when it's your turn to chat directly with the HR professional, feel free to share your screen if you have your LinkedIn profile pulled up. Ask about any certain spots on there that you're a little nervous about or you're unsure of. And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, but you have a resume that you'd like to share, this is also a great opportunity to pull up your resume. Depending on how much time everyone has, we may not have an opportunity to do a real deep dive on during these breakout sessions. So feel free to exchange emails with the HR professionals and other people in your breakout rooms so that you can have that ongoing conversation. So I think that's all the technical stuff. Mamadi, were you able to make me host again?
Sure. So where do I go? I'm not really familiar with Zoom. Where do I go to make you?
Yeah, so if you go to the participant list and you hover over my name, there's a more option, and you should be able to click make host.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right.
So many different technologies we're all using.
Yeah, now we're getting a Zoom demo. I love this.
Yes.
I don't know how to do that either.
Exactly.
All right. So Leah, you are the host now.
Yes, yep. So,
Yep.
in everybody's breakout room, I'm just going to kind of go through and tell everybody who they're with just for a moment here. So, if more people join, we'll go ahead and add them into your room as they come through. So, don't be surprised if you see an extra name in your room pop up. Welcome them. Everybody's just here to learn. So, Cedra, and I'm sorry if I get everybody's names mixed up here, but you're going to be with Ala and Miata, and then Amy with Afu and Mohammed. Angie, you're going to be with Anissa and Tina. Emily, you're going to be with Awat and Yannick. And let's see here. Mara, Bilha, and Hannah will be with you. Megan, you'll be with Job and Eve. Prasad will be with Bengali and Presley. And Uni, you'll be with Mamadi and Kola. So just give me a moment here if everybody wants to. I just need to reassign the breakout rooms because I think when we switched hosting capabilities, it kind of erased some of the previous work I had done.
Thank
But
you,
I'm
Leah.
almost,
Thanks,
yeah,
Leah.
High pressure
Yeah,
role. You're
Leah,
right.
how long are you expecting us to be in breakout rooms?
We had this scheduled until 11:30, so we have about 20 minutes. Does that work
Okay.
for everybody?
Yeah, are we coming back
Yes.
again at the end, or is this kind of the last activity?
This will be the last activity. You're welcome to come back into the room just to share your feedback back with Mamadi. He's going to be in the main room. He'll be the host at that point. So you're welcome to share feedback, anything that went well, didn't go well, or you can just exit and send your feedback via email. He did put his email. Mamadi, if you want to share it one more time in the chat, please.
Sure. Sure. Mhm.
And everybody's got their things pulled up here. Let's see, Angie is with. And Emily, I tried to mix things up from when folks were here last time, try to pair you with a different HR folks, but we'll just kind of see how it goes here.
Yeah, we'll roll with it. Thank you
Yeah,
for the help.
Sure.
Yeah, no
And-
problem.
And Emily, in the meantime, would you mind sharing your deck with us so I can send it to our members?
Yeah, yep, we'll make sure it's shareable and get it over to you later
Okay.
this morning, and we can send it out with the recap.
Okay,
I
thank you.
also, I copied any of the advice that Uni and others posted in the chat, so we can include that as
Sure.
well, kind of top tips and the other external link that she sent about how recruiters leverage a LinkedIn page, just for anybody who wants to read that further or wasn't able to join today.
Super, thank you.
Okay, and I think we're almost there. We did have a couple people drop off, so you know there may only be one person in your room, but that's, I mean, that's even more time just for you. So I think that we've almost got everybody here. Let's make sure, Emily, that you're in your own room that I've assigned you to. And Mara, I've got you in your room. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open the breakout rooms right now. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you can maximize these last 15 minutes. Don't forget to share email addresses if you have ongoing questions. Thank you so much for joining.
And Leah, you're gonna start the recording, right?
I'm going to stop the recording now, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.